if you are in the stage where you have an infant or you have a toddler who is just literally dumping out boxes of Legos and like coloring on the couch or something, like just like pour grace over your entire household because you are in it. It is thick, and it is okay. And, you know, if all you do in that one day is color on paper instead of the couch, and your, 7-year-old or 10-year-old even reads a picture book to your 2-year-old, that's good. Like it is okay. Tallow is all the rage for ancestral healthcare, but the truth is lard is much more aligned with our skin and what it needs.
Lard is not only better absorbed by our skin, but it is also rich in vitamins A, D, and E.
Christine and I use farro in our daily skincare routine to help us hydrate, repair, and strengthen our skin's natural barrier.
Go to farro.shop and use the code AncestralMamas for 15% off. And just in case you missed it, that is farro.shop and use the code AncestralMamas for 15% off. Thank you for supporting our show. Welcome to Modern Ancestral Mamas. We are Corey and Christine, two millennial moms on a mission to bring ancestral wisdom to modern motherhood. Corey, why can't we get
our intro right? Look at my hair. It's like got this like weird flip thing in the back. Okay, wait a minute. Before we start this episode, I found out about this. This has nothing to do with anything, but I want to know if anybody else has heard of this. Like I just recently heard this term Irish curls. Okay. It's like a hair pattern, hair.
Yeah,
hair pattern. Say like texture pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like what it is where you have curly or wavy hair. Like part of your hair is like curly or wavy and the other part is either straight or like only barely wavy. And it's usually the part on the top that's like barely wavy. And so then you got like, and this is exactly my thing. This is exactly what I have. I have like little ringlets like right at the nape of my neck. And I'm like, what is the point of those? Yeah. Nobody's ever going to see those darn things. Totally. So, and then it's like, I have like those ringlets and then like a layer of wavy and then a layer of like almost straight. I'm like, this does nothing for me.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm always like,
your hair is bipolar.
Know what to do with my hair.
It has multiple personalities. Can't figure out what it is.
It's like 3 different textures. And so I actually feel very validated that I have discovered there is a term for it.
You're like, this is what I have.
This is it. This is exactly it. Welcome to our show, everybody.
We're not talking about hair today.
We're not. Although maybe that would be an interesting topic someday to talk about, like probably hair products and stuff like that. That's not what today is about.
No.
Today is our back to school episode.
Yes.
And this is coming out at the end of August. So some people will probably have already gone back. I know the county that I live is already back right now.
Whoa.
And then some people will be going back probably right after this episode airs. So we'll probably hopefully hit everybody kind of, you'll get something out of it regardless of whether you've been back for a couple of weeks or not. Okay, so Christine, let's start out with
yeah, so we want this to be an entire like back to school episode where we give a little update on each of us and our school routines, curriculums, our plans for the school year, like what are we going to do? If anything has changed, what are those changes? And we'll talk both about homeschooling and regular schooling. And we'll mention a few like curriculum names. I at least for me, when I was first time homeschooling mom, I was always like, what curriculum do you use? What curriculum?
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe give some tips or tricks for any back to school organization. And yeah, it's going to be all back to school related stuff.
Right. So
wait, I know what I'm going to start with.
All right, go for it.
Corey, have you already started doing back to school organization or planning.
Oh, okay.
Organization or planning, either thing.
Yes and yes. So I usually, throughout the school year, if I notice there's something that like I feel like we need to work on, but that is going to take like a full school year, I have a little note in my phone that I just continually add things to. So like last year, I noticed that, or one of my kids said, "Hey mom, I really want to work on spelling next year." Or she didn't say that. She said, I really want to learn how to spell better, be a better speller. And I was like, okay, cool. But like, it was March or something. I'm like, I'm not going to pull out a full spelling curriculum.
Totally.
Like, we're just going to end the year and I'll add this to my list to work on for next year. So that's part of how I get to what I'm going to be doing. And then there'll be other things where I'll notice it, or I'll ask the kids, what are you interested in? That sort of thing. And I usually try and do that towards the end of the school year. So April, May, June, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
I have started kind of thinking about what's going to happen the next year, and what changes we want to make, or what curriculum we need to add or take away or whatever. And then usually in July is when I sit down and figure out how we're going to meet the state requirements, what we're going to do to cover each subject. And this year I like went whole hog spreadsheet on it. Like it was like color coded, and it was like, it was a mess. I mean, it was like not a mess. It was totally organized.
Yeah,
but it was a bit outrageous. Like, it was a little extra. But I needed to be able to see exactly how I was going to be able to hit the requirements for the state, particularly because my son is now going into 8th grade. And in Georgia, you can count, if you do a full high school credits worth of work in 8th grade, you can count that towards your high school credits. So, and there were some things that we're going to try and hit for him this coming school year, to count for high school. So I needed to have like all the things. I needed to say, like, this is what's required. This is how I'm going to hit it. This is the curriculum I'm using. Or if I'm not using a curriculum, like, this is the plan for that subject.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are some things that we do that are not I don't buy an open and go curriculum for them.
Yeah.
And some things that we do. So anyway, yeah, so I am fully planned. I also like to buy all the stuff, all of our curriculum or any books or anything in July, because I'm always worried that they're going to sell out, or that shipping's going to take a while, or whatever.
But you don't start till September, right?
We won't start until September. Yeah. We don't start until after
Labor Day, right?
Labor Day.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it's all done. And then like the same sort of thing in that same time frame, I like to go through and take out the old curriculum, box it up. If it was like a workbook, and just stick it in the attic. I keep all that stuff.
Oh, that was like my burning question.
Yeah.
Polling all homeschooling moms out there. How many of you guys keep like workbooks that have already been filled out?
Mm-hmm.
And if you do, for how long?
So I think each state has different, obviously every state is different. I cannot remember exactly, but I think in Georgia it is recommended that you keep 3 years worth. I have kept everything from like, let's see, 2nd grade is when we started with my oldest. So I started keeping stuff from then. I don't keep every single paper that they do.
Yeah.
But I keep our planner book. So we're like our lesson planner book. I keep a couple of examples of writing, a couple of examples of, I just keep the whole math workbook because it's just all bound anyway. So it's just easier to put it in the box.
Yeah. And you keep like box per child, I'm guessing.
No, I just have one box.
Oh, okay.
It's not a huge one. It's just like one of those, what are those called that you know the trope of like you're moving out of the office and you fill up your white box with the lid, cardboard box, whatever that's called. It's about that size.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's not outrageous. It's just enough that if somebody from the school system was to come in and be like, you need to prove that you've schooled your children the past 3 years, I could be like, okay, I have the proof. So yeah. And around that same time, I go through and be like, all right, well now we have to test all these markers and figure out what,
that was actually my next question.
Markers and all of the dead
markers,
glue sticks.
Literally markers. I meant.
Yeah, no, literally markers. And then I'm like, okay, now we had to go buy new markers. And apparently scissors disappear in my house. And it does not make sense to me. I'm like, this is mildly dangerous. And
I have the same issue with scissors and tape. Yes. Don't even get me started on tape.
No, and they're like, when they pull it out of the thing, it's like a foot-long piece of tape, and you're like, you don't need that much.
I know. Tape and Band-Aids are one of those things where I'm like, I'm not buying this anymore.
Yeah. I know, but then the tape, I'm like, I don't want to stunt your artistic endeavors here, but like, we need to conserve the tape a little bit. This is ridiculous. I literally have tape on my Amazon Subscribe and Save.
Oh, that's smart.
It's not smart. It's stupid because then I just have endless supplies of tape for my kids to pull out ridiculous amounts of.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, wait. What were you gonna ask when I said markers and you thought I said something else?
I thought you were talking about testing. Like I didn't know if you did any state tests with them to make sure that they were on level, or I don't know, whatever.
So the Georgia requirements are that we have to test them every 3 years.
Okay.
So yes, I keep those records.
Okay.
Some people will test every year in our state just to have the, the crazy part is that in Georgia, you don't turn anything into anybody.
Right.
It's just for your own assessment and record keeping.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I really, 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 really hate standardized testing. Like, I really hate it.
Yeah.
But I can see the value in that, and like looking at it and going, okay, you're doing really well in this category. Maybe next year we should focus on this.
Totally.
So I get it. Like, I get that that's a really helpful thing to do. The one that we use is called the CAT, the California Achievement Test.
Yeah.
And it's just an online, we do the not timed one, and you can do it open book. So at least let me just be very clear. Like, I'm talking about in our state. I can't talk about other people's states and requirements and everything. So don't take what I said and go do it in your state without double checking what your laws are.
Right.
But I think that's a pretty good one to do. It's not super stressful for the kids. They can take as long as they need. They could take a whole week to do it if they need to.
They take a long time. So last year I did the Iowa with my kids, and I ordered it online from this website called Seton Testing or something like that. And
do they do it online, or do they do it?
I think they can do it online, but I actually got a paper copy of it and I proctored it for them, and it took like 3 days.
Yeah.
No joke, because it was, like 4 hours one day, 5 hours the next day, and however long the next day. And I did everything. I chose to do everything just because I was like really curious.
Yeah.
And I had every intention of doing that again this year. And then I never got around to it. And then after talking to a few other homeschooling moms, they were like, oh, you don't need to do that every year. You could do that every other year. Or like you said, every 3 years.
Yeah.
And so I definitely think I'm going to do it next year for sure, knowing that I skipped this year. But it was, like you said, it was a super helpful marker.
Yeah, the benchmark.
Yeah, to see exactly where they were, to see what we needed to work on, what their strengths were, their weaknesses, like that kind of thing. I found it and I agree with you, as annoying as standardized testing is, I found it very enlightening for guiding my homeschooling choices for the next year. So,
yeah, and it's not terrible to let them practice testing.
1000%. Yeah. because
I really hate that it's like we're going to put everybody like, because not everybody tests, thinks the same on testing. And I'm completely in that camp of testing does not show you everything.
Right.
But it is a helpful benchmarker. So, and from a public school standpoint, I don't know how else you'd do it.
Well, unfortunately, we can't, unless you choose to operate completely out of the system, we can't avoid the fact that it is a form of categorizing students and individuals in the world. It's just what is used. So, I mean, I know a friend who had to take a test to get her job,
Right.
So it just has to happen.
Oh yeah, of course. There's plenty of jobs that would be like that.
So, then I was going to tell you, you mentioned something about a spreadsheet, and I love that you made a spreadsheet because my first year, as most first-time homeschooling moms probably are, I was just surviving, just like,
oh my gosh. The first year is so hard. Anybody who's in that, like, just take it from us. That first year is so hard.
Give yourself insane amounts of grace, and it is totally okay with however you finished the year and whatever happened. Like, give yourself a pat on the back. You did it. I promise you the second year is like 50,000 times better than the first year.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's talk about that. Like, or
well,
did you want
wait, because I wanted to say something about the spreadsheet.
Okay.
I have another friend who homeschools, and she showed me her spreadsheet. Thank goodness. Because I'm a visual person and I have to see things.
Yeah,
and
me too.
So when she showed me her spreadsheet, I was like, oh, this is brilliant. And so I did exactly the same thing, literally just copied verbatim and color coded it. And each child has, basically the way she did it was color coded per child, and then just put the date, and on that date, everything that they did. So for example, Monday, and then you would have it split up into categories. So language arts, spelling, I don't know, math, science, social studies, read aloud, whatever. And then if they worked on something on that particular day, you write, what did they work on? What did they work on this day? What did they work on this day? Then
so that she's using it like a planner.
Is that what you would consider a planner? I mean, she's using it after the fact. So at the end of the day, or maybe at the end of the week, is recording what they've done.
Okay, so that's called planning from behind.
Okay, thank you for the technical term. Did not know that.
It's something that I read in a homeschool book.
I love it. Okay. And then at the end of the school year, going through and looking at everything that they've done and essentially create an overview of everything that was completed. And that's when I realized, oh, wow, we actually did quite a bit this year. Like in their day-to-day grind, you're like, oh my gosh, we still haven't finished this unit. And then, you look at it in the big picture and you realize, oh, actually, a lot was done.
Yeah.
So I found that extremely helpful for me personally. But what are you going to say about planning?
I don't remember what I was saying.
Or
about
spreadsheets.
Planning.
What does your spreadsheet look like?
Oh, my spreadsheet is literally just like, so it has the kid's name, and then it has the grade that they're in. Then it has the subject, so language arts, science, math, whatever. And then the next column, it says, this is the curriculum that we're going to use. So, for example, you would do, let's just do science. So for my son's name, his grade, science, and then it says the curriculum that we're using. So he's doing a computer science curriculum this year. And then it says how many days of the week he's going to be working on that, if it's going to be an online class or at co-op class or a at-home class, whatever. Have I bought the curriculum yet? Do we have all the supplies? That sort of thing. So it's not necessary. So, but then for what you're saying, I have every week, I have just a notebook where I have, I draw lines on the notebook page. So I've broken it up into 5 days, and And then I also have Saturday and Sunday as a like smaller square, but, and I write down on those days what each child is required to do. So it would say like Monday, 1 lesson of math, 1 lesson of science, 30 minutes of reading for each kid on each day. And I would plan that out every week.
Okay.
And then it would say usually like co-op homework, work on this, just along those lines. So then at the end of the year, I have that whole notebook that has what we did every single day. Even if it just said like went to the zoo, or when we're on vacation, it'll say like on vacation, swam in the pool for 5 hours, you know, like fine. That's considered physical education. I don't know. But it, like you said, I think it's so helpful to have some sort of validation that you're doing something.
Yeah.
And even if it's not like a completed workbook, you know, we read 3 chapters of our read aloud book today because everybody was really into it. Or, you know, even if you wrote my 13-year-old was babysitting my, you know, younger kids, and they made slime.
Yeah.
You know, cool.
Totally. I feel like so many moms are going to want to know if you have a specific planner.
I used to buy one from the Well Planned Gal, who I really like her planners, but I realized like she has all these extra things in there that I wasn't using. And I was like spending, I think it's around 40 something bucks, $50 on this planner. And I was like, I don't really need it. Like what I just need is like the days of the week written out or drawn out, and a monthly calendar. So literally what I did was I bought a notebook from Amazon, and I bought a fairly nice, but it's just like a spiral notebook.
Okay.
It has a harder cover, so it's not floppy.
Okay.
And it has slightly thicker paper, and it has a pocket thing in it. So I can keep, like, that's where I keep like the test scores and stuff like that.
Okay.
Or our co-op schedule, because it would help to have that in there. And then I bought a little monthly paper size, so like an 8.5 by 11 monthly calendar. And I just rip the pages off and I glue it into the notebook.
Oh, that's not
so
bad.
that I have the month one, like, so I can see the visual of the month.
Yeah.
Because I am also very visual and I need to be able to see the month instead of having it. I have it in my phone too, but like I need to see that.
Totally.
And then I just write it in in the notebook pages.
Yeah.
It's nothing really fancy.
Okay. There you go, moms. I feel like that's actually a really easy DIY.
Yeah, it's so easy.
And I mean, each person is so unique with the way they like to organize themselves that I kind of feel like doing your own thing is probably better. I think you have
to just do things for a while and figure out what works for you.
Totally. For organizational purposes in our home, we have a massive whiteboard on the side of the fridge, and
with a calendar on it?
No, it's a blank whiteboard. And basically what I do is I draw, I mean, it's like essentially drawn in and I don't erase it, but a weekly calendar, and it says, you know, Monday through Sunday on there. And every week I update like, what are we doing for that week? And I can see it every single day. And then it's also helpful because that's where I put our meal plan. That's where I put like, if there's any urgent things that we have to buy at the grocery store, or like just any notes for any kid. That's where they have their chore chart up. I mean, it's a huge whiteboard. But I, like you, I have got to see it. Yes, it's on my phone, but it is not the same as like being able to see it on a daily basis. Oh, I know that I have X, Y, and Z meeting today, or I have a podcast recording today. You know, like everybody knows mom is recording on X, Y, and Z day.
Yeah.
So
we have the same thing on our fridge too. So I have the calendar in my notebook for school, but then I also have a paper calendar on the fridge for the kids to be able to see.
Yeah.
which is also the same place. We have the same thing. We have our meal plan up there. We have a little notebook where we can write, or not notebook, but notes, paper thing. It's so helpful for me to see it, but also for the kids.
Oh, totally. I actually think I truly don't understand how parents without schedules up and visible, like, go throughout their week. It blows my mind. And I have a few friends that are like that. And I'm just like, I don't get it. Because as a child, I think it gives them such a sense of peace to know what's coming. And they can kind of just like relax. Like, all right, I already know that on Thursday I'm going to go to soccer practice or whatever.
Mhm.
You know, it's not like they're waking up every day like, what's going on?
My kids will still ask me, and sometimes they'll be like, "Hey, what are we doing today?" I'm
Yeah.
like, "It's on just it.
Yeah.
Look at the stinking calendar."
Totally. Okay. I
That
feel
question
like
drives me nuts because I have the calendar.
I know, right? Well, funny story. My 4-year-old, almost 5-year-old, he gets his breakfast, lunch, and dinners confused. So he calls everything dinner. And so he'll come down at breakfast and he's like, "What's for dinner today?" But really he means breakfast.
He means
and
breakfast.
And then at lunchtime he'll be like, "What's for dinner today?" But really he means lunch. And you're just like, oh my gosh.
You're like, I don't know how to answer this question because
I know,
you
right?
could be getting it right all of a sudden.
Totally.
And then
it's really cute. But anyway, okay. I feel like we should update our listeners because we've been talking about homeschooling for a little bit, but I actually wanted to share that I have some changes going on in my family this year. And it's really interesting because I feel like when you fall into the holistic, crunchy space, you kind of are like, oh, I'm going to check all the boxes and you have all the labels. You're like, check, drink raw milk, check, buy my food from the farm, check, homeschool, whatever. And I think that I personally don't fall into any label when it comes to the schooling thing, because I'm just going to do whatever works best for each individual child. And so for this year, this is going to result in a very chaotic year. I've got my 11-year-old returning to school, and he's very excited about it. We're all very excited about it. I really think that it is truly the best decision for him. He did well when we homeschooled, but he also needs an external push that is not his mom. And I'm excited to go back to just being his mom and not also his teacher. So my oldest will be returning to school. My middle is I will continue homeschooling her. But we are experimenting with a hybrid co-op this year. Funny thing is, she has no idea what's coming because while we're experimenting with this hybrid co-op, I'm still continuing some of my regular curriculum with her that I just don't want to let go. So for example, math, this is now my 3rd year doing Beast. I am obsessed with Beast Academy for math, like totally love it. Another homeschooling mom recommended it to me and boy, was she right. It has an online portion so they can like play games and stuff, and it tests them every single chapter online. And then also has a workbook portion, and we do both. We do both the workbook and the online portion. And last year, for the first year, I did an online math class with her, with both of my kids, and they both really liked that too. And it was great to have an external person explaining some of these more complicated math concepts to them. And then I was just like reinforcing. So she'll be doing, and the funny thing is, like at her co-op, she's doing Singapore math.
Oh, so she's going to be, is she going to be doing 3 maths?
She'll be doing, 2 maths. So she'll be doing Singapore
so
math at co-op and then Beast Academy with me at home. And I was, sharing about this with some friends, and they were saying that actually the 2 curriculums complement each other really well.
Oh, good.
That apparently Singapore is very rote memorization, just like systematic, a lot of memorization, but Beast is a lot of like problem solving, like logic puzzles, really getting you to figure out how to solve math problems. And so I think the combo of the two is going to work really well. So we're doing hybrid program for her, plus additional
math at home,
and additional language arts. So again, you guys can tell I just I take advice from so many other people and just run with it. But we're doing something called MCT for language arts, and it's by this man named Michael Clay Thompson, who apparently is just like a whiz when it comes to all things language arts, spelling, grammar, vocabulary. So we'll be doing that. But again, that's in addition to her hybrid co-op.
So when we did a hybrid, they covered like every subject at the hybrid. And then you were there 2 days a week, and then you were home 3 days a week with homework.
Exactly.
Is that the same deal?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Totally the same thing. Yeah. And I have a feeling that, well, first of all, since she was going to be the only one home during the day, I was like, she has got to spend more time with other kids or she's going to go crazy. So it's one of the reasons why I chose the hybrid option for her, so that she would be able to actually be in a classroom of children her age, interacting with other kids. And I liked that the hybrid did exactly like you said, math, language arts, spelling, Latin, science, art, like it's everything. It's
so is
fantastic.
it a classical?
Yeah. So classical education. And so then she'll be home with me the other 3 days, and we'll do whatever homework she has plus her additional curriculum stuff. And then my youngest is staying at his Montessori program because he's still really young, and the Montessori program goes from like 3 to 6. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So he can stay there for another 2 years then?
He can, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. And what's really nice about it is they start the foundations of reading with them, and they do phonics.
Oh, cool. So you're not having to do really anything.
Yeah. So once I get him, and we'll see, because every kid is different. I never had to teach my daughter how to read. It was the most bizarre thing in the world. She just knew how to read.
Yeah, my oldest is like that for the most part.
Yeah, and I had to teach my oldest how to read. So I'm curious to see what the youngest is going to be like.
Yeah. So I know, it's so crazy how every kid is different, like so different.
I know.
And there are different things they need, or, need to focus on. Some things they get so easily, and some things they really don't. And you can't go into it and being like, well, this worked for this kid, it's going to work for that kid.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very true.
Which can be a real blessing of homeschooling, but it can also be a real struggle point, because you're like having to rethink things with each kid. It's not, you can't just plug and play each kid into the same conveyor belt system, which is why a lot of people do homeschool.
Yeah.
Because you're not putting them into the same conveyor belt system that often happens in a traditional public school.
Yeah, no, totally.
So your oldest is going to a very traditional.
Yep. Traditional school.
What have you done throughout the summer, if anything, to kind of prep him from transitioning from being home all the time with you, with his siblings, having a fairly, it's vastly different, right? Like that's going to be a huge difference in his life day to day. Did you guys do anything to kind of like prep him emotionally or anything to get him ready?
Yeah. No, that's a great question. So I'm trying to think. Well, we've had a lot of conversations about, this is an experiment. We're going to see how this goes, and we're going to give it a try. And we've talked about things like that. We've also talked about how in our family we do hard things. Like we just that's just something that we say in our family. We do hard things, and there might be times in this experience where it's hard, but we're not going to quit. We're going to keep pushing through it. We're going to give it the full year, see how it goes. He went to the summer camp and did like a full month summer camp. So he already had kind of like a taste of what it's going to be like. The summer camp was literally from like 9 to 3.
And it was like an academic summer camp?
half of it was academic. So half the day was academic and the other half was recreational. So,
Okay.
but he's got a taste of like some of the academics.
And was he able to make friends then?
Totally. Yes,
Okay,
because
that's
a lot
great.
of times the kids that attend the summer camp are the same kids that are going to be in his class. It is a very, very, very small school, so he's only going to have 40 kids in his class.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he will stay with those same kids all the way through high school. And we were super blessed that going in, we already know 4 other families from his previous Montessori school. So he already knows, like we as parents already know 4 other families. He already knows 4 other kids. I mean, that's like 10% of the class.
Yeah.
So,
that's great though, because
yeah.
that could be a huge worry point for a kid.
Yeah. And
even if those kids don't end up being his best friends, like at least he knows them walking in the door.
Yes, for sure. And like the other interesting factor here is he's very sociable and he's ready for it. Like he is ready for the challenge. He knows it's going to be hard because we have definitely talked about that. Like we've said this is not going to be an easy endeavor. Like you are definitely going to have to work hard. And I think he's ready for it. He's aside from just like having conversations with him, we haven't done really anything to prep. The school is really great in that the first 2 years, they don't allow any of the younger boys to do sports because it's just like they really want them to get used to the schedule and get used to organizing themselves and homework and things like that. And so I actually think we're going to keep like home life super low key to not overwhelm him. Like we might, I think they do like the class itself does, maybe they do like a soccer team and maybe it's like 1 day a week or something, but there's no formal sports for the younger grades.
Is this a school that starts in middle school?
Yeah, it starts in 5th grade.
So it's not like they've all been together for the past 5 years and are now just coming into middle school. He's coming in with the first class.
Yeah.
All the
first
kids
class.
are coming in at the same time. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They're all coming in at 5th grade.
Nice.
Yeah. And I was going to say something about keeping. Oh, yes, because we want to talk about schedules. I actually think I've already looked at the schedule for this coming school year and I've decided I'm going to move dinner time up to 4 p.m. And we're going to do, 3:15 pickup or whatever, get home, immediately serve dinner because I have a feeling, he will be starving. The brain will be working overtime all day kind of thing. And my plan is to serve a 4:00 dinner, have everything picked up and cleaned up by like 5:30. And then hopefully that's enough time for a little bit of play and then homework and then early bedtime. We'll see how it works out. But
so let's talk about that because we talked about that on our dinner episode or maybe our snacks episode. I don't remember which one it was, but maybe both. And you said that, and you said that means that you don't eat with your husband.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, how do you, first of all, that means you have to have made dinner before you go pick him up, right?
1000%. Yes.
Okay. So are you going to make like crock-pot meals all the time? Or is it just going to be like you made it while you're home with your daughter, and then by the time you go pick him up, you'll just come back and it'll be pretty much just done anyway?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go back to after breakfast, starting on dinner. Or like you said, I mean, I envision it will be way easier to be cooking and homeschooling with one child versus like 2, the way it was last year. Like I felt like I was just kind of like, I was helping one kid, then I was, like teaching the other kid, and I was sort of yo-yoing back and forth. So there wasn't as much time to do dinner prep. But I think that this year it'll be a lot easier because of that. And you said, what else did you say? Oh, the husband thing. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to tell him that he knows that we're going to have dinner at 4:00. And if he can escape and come and eat, his office is literally 5 minutes from our house. So it's really easy for him to stop by. But if he can have dinner with us, that would be great. But if not, I also totally understand. And I feel like since I'm present, there's at least one caregiver there. And
Yeah, but like what's the logistics of it? Because when so Ryan will go one night a week, he goes to jujitsu and he doesn't get home until like 7:30.
Yeah.
And the kids and I have already eaten dinner at that point. And I literally just like leave everything out, even though what I would like to do is just clean up directly after dinner. But I leave food out for him, obviously, so he can eat when he gets home. Like how do you do that?
Yeah. I think what I would do is I would leave him a plate. So I would have the plate prepared, and we have a warming drawer in our oven, and I would just leave it in the warming drawer, and, he eats when he wants, when he comes home, kind of thing.
Okay.
So, yeah. I want to say I did this when my kids were a lot younger. Maybe they were like 2 and 4. I started doing it, and I just found that really young kids, they couldn't wait until 5 or 6 o'clock, and I was not willing to give them snacks. And so we would eat really, really early, and then my husband would come home and eat later by himself. But, like I would accompany him. I would be sitting with him. I just wouldn't eat. And it worked well for us. I know that that's not for everybody. But for our personal family, I found that, it worked.
Yeah, it works for you guys.
The past couple of years, we have been able to maybe 2 or 3 nights a week during the week. On the weekends, always we eat together, but 2 or 3 nights a week, we have been able to eat dinner together. So yeah, we'll have to go back to not doing that again. But like I said before, it's all an experiment, so we'll see.
If figuring out what to feed your family feels exactly like a never-ending to-do list, I get it. That is exactly why I created these 3 cookbooks just for you. 1 Chicken, 5 Meals shows you how to stretch a single bird into a week of nourishing, no-stress dinners. Nourishing Junk Food lets you create your favorites with using real food ingredients, no food dyes, no seed oils, and no other junk, just the flavors that you love. And in betweens, that's the secret weapon for snack time, lunch boxes, and all those what do I even feed them right now moments. All 3 are kid-friendly, mama approved, and made for real life. Get your copies today and turn your kitchen into a place that you actually enjoy. Go to fornutrientsake.com and use the code MAM15 for 15% off your order. All right, our second code that we're going to share with you is from Seatopia. The code that they have given us is Ancestral Mama, and that's going to get you 10% off. They sell sushi grade and snap frozen fish. So it's frozen at the peak of freshness, and it's all clean, certified clean seafood that is mercury safe and microplastic tested. Check out their website, seatopia.com. Is that right?
It's seatopiafish.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like as your kids get older too, and they're able to stay up later, and go longer without eating, it'll be potentially different then too. Like it's all so much of what we do as parenting is just like fluxing.
Yes. Yeah.
There's
shifting.
Shifting. Like, okay, this worked, for this 6 months, and that's not working anymore. We got to do something else. Like, we're gonna just move with the flow and be able to shift and be flexible.
Totally makes me think of one of the things that Renee said in her episode when she talked about how you're only ready for the stage of parenting that you're in right then and there. So like,
that was such a powerful thing that she said.
Right. I was like, whoa.
It really was. And she said at the very beginning of the episode, and I was like, okay, I don't even think we need to keep going.
Yeah, we don't need to keep talking. That was it. That was
We're
your
like
mic
5
drop.
minutes in. Done.
I know. But it's really resonated with me, like we're going to see, I'm only going to be doing what I'm capable of in the moment, and seeing what works, sort
and
of
whatever
like
your kids need in that season or that moment.
Right.
Because they don't need the same things as a toddler as that they do when they're a 13-year-old.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, listening to her talk about how the type of busy that she is now is nothing compared to the type of busy she was when she had like toddlers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I can see that. I can see like little glimpses of that. I mean, like I said, only one of my kids is going to be having extracurricular activities this year because that's all the capacity that I can manage. And I shouldn't say the full year for the first semester. But I can see glimpses of it as you're like, oh, this kid has this and this kid has that and that kid has that. And you're like, oh my gosh, how do you juggle it all?
Oh my gosh, I know.
But anyway.
We have 3 kids with extracurriculars this year. And I'm like,
wait, what extracurriculars are you doing?
A dance class, jujitsu, and my son has yet to choose, but he is going to pick something.
What do you think, or what are his options?
A youth group at the church.
Mm-hmm.
Jujitsu.
Yeah.
Or because that would be easy, he could just go with his dad and his sister.
Totally.
Or there's some various homeschool clubs that meet, so we'll think about doing those if there's one he's interested in. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing I wanted to ask you about, and we talked about this a little bit, like you said, in the Renee Coley episode, which published a couple weeks ago. When this episode comes out, it will have published a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. But I want to talk about, since you are now going to be getting 2 of your kids to a school in the morning, mm-hmm. What are you planning on doing to make those mornings still sacred and not chaotic and not not kicking kids out the door with like, go, go, go,
I know. I'm very guilty of that often.
It's so hard.
Yeah. The rushing lifestyle is something I grew up with. And so it's really hard to break that cycle. But okay. So a few things that I do. The first is I really, really, really value sleep, kind of like what Renee talked about.
Right.
So early bedtimes, really making sure that kids are going to sleep at a decent time.
Okay, we're going to come back to that.
Oh, okay.
I have questions.
Something else that I do, which might be kind of silly, and I still do this, even for the 11-year-old. The 11-year-old loves it. Is I put their clothes out that they're going to wear the next day. So the night before, just put it all out on their dresser so that the minute they wake up, they know, and they just they put it on. They, put their pajamas under their pillow, and that's done. It's so funny because I've been asked constantly, but don't your kids fight you about what they want to wear? And I'm like, not really. I mean, they see me put it out. So if they don't like something, then they'll say something and I'll change it. But really, I think they have just appreciated that mental load taken off of them, that whatever I put out for them, they'll wear it. They don't care.
That would never fly in my house.
That's what I've heard. I've heard so many moms be like, I don't understand this. My kid would, she likes to pick her own clothes, or he likes to pick his own clothes. And I'm like, I don't know. That's something else that I do. And then the other thing is I really agree with Renee about a really big, filling breakfast. So yeah, I make a hot breakfast every single morning for my kids, except for Fridays. Because by then I'm
on Fridays you eat ice cream.
Yeah, right? No, I know. Today we had a smoothie. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so over cooking. But yeah, big filling breakfast. Love Renee's idea of just heating everything up on a sheet pan. That's brilliant. I feel like I'm going to have to use that in the future. And I also appreciate that she said she knows her kids can do it, but she does it for them. Mm-hmm. And I completely agree with that. Yes, my 4-year-old, fine. He would be a mess making breakfast for himself in the morning. But the other 2 probably could. But no, I want to ease the transition out the door as much as possible, make things simple, and not put that mental load on them. Oh my gosh, I know we've talked about school lunches so much, but one of the things that I have struggled with and I haven't figured out polling all you ma'am listeners out there again. Do you guys pack lunches the night before or the morning of?
Okay, send us a message.
Yeah, I would love to know if you have any lunch packing tips. That's the one thing I haven't figured out, because I tend to pack lunches in the morning and it makes things more chaotic.
It does, yeah.
So I've got to figure something out for sure.
Okay. First of all, I do want to say that Renee Coley on Fridays, she does breakfast cookies for her kids, which she has in the freezer. So she like batch makes them and then pulls them out, and they're basically just oatmeal, with like nuts or seeds or something. But I was like thinking when you said we do a hot lunch every day, and I was like, and then you do a cold lunch on Friday, or breakfast. You could legit make ice cream sandwiches with homemade ice cream and breakfast cookies and be like, here you go. Like, just pull it out of the freezer and it's just perfectly good breakfast.
My kids would die.
It would be
I know.
It would be such a nutritious breakfast.
They would love it.
It really would be. I mean, I know it's not savory, but like, it would be such a nutritious breakfast with all the egg yolks and cream and
I know
oatmeal and like nuts and seeds or dried fruit or whatever.
Totally.
Yeah. I'm thinking that's what we'll do on
I actually remember
Thursday
last
mornings.
year, I if you do that, you will have to share for sure. This is way more up your alley than mine. I feel like making an ice cream sandwich for breakfast, it feels overwhelming to me.
Okay, so then just make the cookies and then put the ice cream in a bowl. It's the same thing.
Okay. No, last year I posted a reel for savory muffins. What were they? They were
they were like cheddar and it was some sort of cheese and some like bacon or something.
Yeah, it
or
was
sausage.
like bacon and Gruyere maybe. I don't even remember now. But this just goes to show how much I've not been on social media. But I was scrolling down looking for my waffle recipe because I do not have that memorized. And I saw them and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to make these again.
Oh my gosh. I do think muffins are one of my absolute favorite things to have in the freezer.
Yeah.
Because they thaw so quickly.
That's what I was wondering. Do you thaw them out the night before or the morning of?
No, I just put them in the hot oven.
Oh, okay.
And then they thaw in there while they're warming up.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, it's so easy. I want to ask you about this early bedtime thing. I need to know the logistics of this because even with my littlest one, so my 7 and 5, even if I try and put them to bed and I know that they're tired around 7 ish, they will not fall asleep until 8:30 or 9.
Oh, whoa.
This has been our past year and a half has been like this.
I mean, is that just recently because of the light?
No, like the full year and a half. Like,
oh, wow.
Not only because of the light, just because they're like wiggling in the bed or like singing a song or their stuffed animals are having a tussle or whatever.
Yes. Something's not right with the stuffed animal. Something's not right with the blanket. Something's not right with the pillow.
Right. Or that, the stuffed animals need to have a little play before they can go to sleep. I don't know.
Wait. Have you tried? I've done this with my 4-year-old before. He's got the one favorite stuffed animal that he sleeps with.
Yep.
I become him and I talk for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically, hold him up and I'm like, you need to tell him everything that you did today. It's time to go to sleep now. He's really tired. I make him yawn. He's ready to say his prayers. He wants to go to sleep and works like a charm every time. And my 4-year-old is he takes it seriously and he's just like, oh my gosh, Bo's tired. We have to go to sleep.
Aww.
I don't know if that would work. But basically take on the persona. I know, works for my kid. Take on the persona of the stuffed animal and have the stuffed animal talk to your child. And, you're just telling your child, I've had a really busy day today. I was playing with all of the other stuffies and I'm really tired and I need to go to sleep. You're basically talking about yourself.
Right? And I made dinner and I made lunch
I know, right?
and I swept the floor 7 times.
Totally. Oh my gosh. Dying.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. Yeah. So when I say early, the older two definitely are not asleep before 8. Like they're asleep by 8. The younger one, I could put to sleep even earlier than his siblings. If I were super organized, and sometimes when my husband is out of town, I do this, but I put him down at like 6:30. And he'll go down at 6:30 because there is a sleep window. You just have to like look for it.
Yeah, no, there totally is.
And if you miss that, then they've got another cortisol rush, and that can stay in their body for another 40 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, but like, is it quiet in your house when you're doing this? And the other
Of
two?
course. Oh, yeah, for sure. I tell the other two, I'm like, hey, guys, I tell them, I'm like, will you help me put him to sleep? And they're all in on it. And they pretend and, they put on their pajamas and they brush their teeth and they act like they're going to get ready and go to bed with him. And then I'll stay up a little. And then once he falls asleep and I lay with him, then we'll like tiptoe out and then we'll hang out for a little bit. Maybe we're reading or playing a game or something like that. But I have found that you have to hit the sleep window. Not that this whole episode is about sleep, but you got to hit the sleep window.
Yeah.
And no naps during the day.
Oh, yeah, no. We gave up naps a long time ago.
Yeah. Same. I mean,
I would love for my kids to take naps. I had a friend whose kids took naps every day, even like up through 2nd grade.
What?
I was like, I'm so jealous right now.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh.
My kids are over here like 18 months. Nope.
Oh man.
Not
well,
anymore.
Somehow we shifted from back to school to naps.
No, I think it is relevant.
Yeah.
Totally relevant.
Do you want to share about your curriculums? Are there See, you're already that experienced mom, and I'm still the first, like early homeschooling mom that's like, no, actually, I want to hear about the curriculum.
Do you? Okay. Okay, so for math, we do the good and the beautiful. Every kid does it all at a different level. I was a little bit on the fence about doing it for my oldest this year because it's interesting. Like they are releasing the newer or the levels along with his kind of progression. So like this year they have the pre-algebra level that just came out and he's going to use that one. I was kind of going back and forth on like, should we switch or not to something a little harder because he's really good at math. But I'm like, he's in 8th grade. I really just want him to have a really solid foundation of understanding this, really understanding it, really able to do it before moving him into something else. And if he needs to, like if he blows through it, if he's like, this is not challenging enough, then we'll reassess if that happens. But I really like Good and the Beautiful math because I think after 3rd grade, they start having video lessons that go with each lesson. And it's a spiral curriculum. So that means it like you touch on it and then you circle back to it after a couple of lessons and then you circle back to it again and you keep circling back to older concepts so that you're not losing them. I like that. I know that not everybody likes that style of education. And then let me think, what are the other? So science, I said my son's going to be doing a computer science program. He is, I actually just bought, there's a whole line of these books called Everything You Need to Know to Ace Fill in the Blank in One Big Fat Notebook.
Okay.
So this one is coding and computer science, I think. And it's a huge notebook. I mean, it's thick. Or it's not a notebook, it's a book. It's thick. And then it's got lessons in it. So you can just basically use it like a textbook.
Cool.
So he'll do that. And then we also have a couple of other coding supplemental books that he'll use here and there if he feels like it. It's something he's really into. So I'm kind of looking to him to kind of self-lead some of the extra stuff.
So he's learning how to code, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So he'll do that for science. The girls are all going to do Good and the Beautiful unit studies for science, and I just let them choose which one they wanted to do. So we picked 3 different unit studies, and we'll do those 3 together with them. So they are okay. So I think this might be important for the conversation. So my son is going into 8th grade. My 3 daughters are going to be 7th grade, 2nd grade, and kindergarten.
Okay.
So that's helpful in figuring, thinking about what we're doing here. So, let's see. That covers science. That covers math. Reading, we just do for the older 2 kids who are proficient in reading. I don't do any sort of reading curriculum. I just tell them they have to read a book for 30 minutes a day. They're allowed to pick what they read.
Okay.
For the most part, there are a couple of books that I have said, I would like you to read this year. I don't care when you do it.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we also do some history reading. So I have a stack of history books that are either biographies or a historical fiction, which kind of helps them to think about how that world was, even if it's not factual.
Yeah.
So they will do 15 minutes of reading for that too a day. The younger ones will do Explode the Code, which covers handwriting, phonics, reading, spelling, all of those language arts sort of things.
Yeah.
And then the 7-year-old who's going into 2nd grade, she can read, so she will also have we just call it that personal reading time. So she'll be required to do 10-ish minutes, 15-ish minutes of reading a day, and literally whatever she wants to read off the shelf or picked from the library or whatever. Yeah. Okay, what other subjects do we have? Social studies. So social studies this year, we are doing Story of the World Volume 4. So that's the modern,
that's
Victorian through modern, which is my favorite time period.
Okay.
Because I think there's so much happening in that time period that is extraordinarily relevant to our real life right now.
Yeah.
And it's so tangible, we know people that lived through World War II, or we know people that remember, I don't know, whatever else you can think of in a lot of that time period. Or even if you don't know people who remember it, you probably could find family photos from that, Civil War or something like that. So I just think it's really fascinating. Plus the clothes from the Victorian era are my favorite.
I have not done the 4th volume of Story of the World yet.
Yeah.
I think this year we're doing the 3rd one. So
okay, we did that last year.
Yeah.
I love Story of the World. I know some people don't.
Totally. Oh my gosh, why?
I mean, people like different things.
Oh my gosh, I think it's amazing.
So, did you know that Story of the World has a what is it called? Activity guide book?
No.
Christine, you have to go online and buy this.
Oh my gosh.
First of all, it's not very expensive for what it is.
Okay.
It is massive. It's like an 8.5 by 11 size book, but it's 2.5 inches thick.
Wow.
It's huge. And it's got maps in it. It's got coloring pages in it. It's got timeline things, you can fill in timelines. It's got for every single chapter of Story of the World, it has supplemental reading. It has historical fiction lists. It has films that you could watch that have to do with it, or documentaries. It has writing assignments that you could use. It has tests that you can use. It has all the things. And it's only $30 for this book.
Okay, I'm definitely going to have to look this up. So it's Story
fantastic.
of the World, you said
activity book.
Activity book. Okay.
Yeah, and each Story of the World volume has its own activity book.
Yeah. That makes sense. Oh my gosh.
So I bought that this year, which is the first year I bought this. I didn't think it was as valuable as it is because I knew that it existed. I'd seen it online, but I didn't realize what it was.
Okay.
So I ordered it this year because my son's going to be in a more significant grade. I was like, I need to make social studies more significant. So I ordered it. And it's a fantastic resource. If you use Story of the World, it's 100% necessary. Not necessary.
Helpful.
Useful.
Yeah,
helpful.
Yeah. Totally.
You don't have to have it, but it's definitely useful.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll do that. We'll do some of the activities in it. We're not going to do all of them. Obviously, that would be way too much. And then my son is also going to do what I'm calling history journalism, which is a totally made up thing.
Yeah, what is that?
So I wanted him to really connect with what we were learning in history, to really be able to dig in and kind of connect with it. So my mom and I came up with this idea where he is going to pretend to be a time traveler.
Ooh.
And go back in time to one of the events that happens in whatever we're reading that week.
Yeah.
And write a journalistic paper, like a pretend news paper article about it.
Oh, that's really cool. I like that. I'm
going to let him design it on Canva.
Yeah.
It's going to be like a whole thing that he's going to be able to do. He's probably going to think this is really lame. I'm not going to lie. But
really?
That's
it sounds
okay.
cool.
I don't care. I know it sounds cool. But I want him to like really engage with it, you know?
I like that
okay.
idea.
Like, I think it'd be okay for him to be like coming at it from a modern kid perspective too.
Okay.
Anyway, that's what he's going to be doing there. So, let's see, what else? Oh, language arts. They're going to be doing, IEW.
Yep.
Which is Institute for Excellence in Writing. I think that IEW is one of the best
writing curriculums. Totally. Yeah.
So they'll do that. They're actually going to be doing that. My older two are going to be doing that through our co-op, which is fantastic. I don't have to facilitate it at home.
So nice. Yeah.
We have a wonderful, wonderful woman who does that as a kind of extra to our co-op. So it's actually after co-op. It's not during the co-op hours. And she teaches it. She's like, this is what I want for my kids, so I'm going to teach it.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
I know, that's the best.
And the great thing is that Story of the World and IEW, if you get the history writing ones, oftentimes line up almost perfectly.
Yeah.
So it actually works out really well. They're doing modern history with IEW, and we're doing the modern history Story of the World. So it's going to like merge really nicely. Okay, what else? Oh, I said we're doing spelling. So we're going to do something called sequential spelling for the older two.
Oh,
I just ordered that.
Okay, you didn't say that. You said explode the code for the younger ones, but sequential.
No, earlier in the episode, I mentioned that we needed to do spelling this year.
Okay.
So we're doing that, and we're going to do a grammar, which is, I'm just using this book called Grammar Dragon, and you can just buy it on Amazon. It's really cheap.
Okay.
We're going to do that. What else? That's it, right?
I think that is it. Yeah, because you said science, social studies, math, spelling, reading,
language arts.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be like other things that they do throughout the year.
Yeah.
And then they have their co-op.
And they have co-op. Yeah. That's awesome. I know that you didn't want to go through all of that, but I think that it seems
really boring in my brain to just like list it out.
No, I think a lot of people are interested. They're just curious. They like want to know what other homeschooling moms are doing, or how you're organizing things. So
I think it can be so overwhelming to choose curriculum.
I agree.
There's so many options, and they're so expensive. A lot of them are really expensive that you're like, if I buy this, then I'm sunk, $115 or something per kid.
Totally.
And what if I don't like it?
Yeah.
Or what if it doesn't work for my kid?
Actually, wait, I want to mention one more curriculum that I didn't say anything about, which is last year I did Logic of English. And I just have to say, I was blown away
For
by
what?
it.
What does that cover?
Logic of English is phonics, grammar, spelling, writing. It's not heavily on the writing side. It's reading. Yeah, it's like a language arts. So it does all of those. I would still do an additional writing curriculum to that, which I did with my oldest. But I was really impressed with it. I still have everything, and I actually didn't finish it with my daughter last year. So we'll see. If there's enough time, I might continue it with her this year. But I really liked Logic of English. So just throwing that out there for any other. I feel like now maybe we overwhelmed everybody with all of these names. But it was very, very technical when it comes to grammar and phonics. It even went into Latin roots of words. I'm trying to think what else we did with it. It was good. It was really good. Totally loved it. Is there anything else that's school related that we have missed? I'm trying to think.
Okay, I want to do one or a couple more. How do you, when your kids are in school full time, how do you make sure that you are promoting family connection? So between siblings, between you and your kids, that sort of thing.
I mean, I feel like most people who know us would know that we're already a very tight-knit family to begin with, because we spend a lot of time with family. We have a lot of extended family that we're blessed to live nearby. So there is weekly family dinners with like grandparents and things like that and cousins. They're, really focusing on spending time together in the evening. So like when my husband, on the weekends, one of the things that my husband does with the kids is he does tickle wars. And so like
that's such a dad thing to do.
I know. He like plays with them. He's very playful. He's very good at playing with them. And when he comes home, he plays with them. And so I think that really helps bring us together. And then things like going to church and trying to think what else. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good answer or not.
Yeah, I mean, you're just saying like prioritizing family.
Yeah. I mean,
and making sure that you're spending time together and doing things that are not distracting.
Yeah. Yeah, at this age, I feel like it's still fairly easy. I'm sure that will change as kids get older. Friends become more prominent or...
Yeah, everybody can pray for us as we're heading into these teenage years.
Yeah, I still have a preteen, so I'm not quite there yet.
You're not quite there yet. Yeah. I am.
Pray for Corey, guys.
I know. I'll take it. Okay, and then what is something that you wish you knew before your kids started school? So either before you started homeschooling, before your kids started school in general. What do you think?
Ooh, that's a tricky question. I think that everything is going to be okay. And you don't have to stress out so much.
That it'll all come out in the wash.
Yep. It's all going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
No need to stress. Release control. Yeah.
You say that and we're both like super type A.
We're both so controlling. So that's why I laugh. Oh my gosh.
It'll be okay. You don't have to worry about it, even though I know you're going to.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's just, a reminder for myself.
Yeah, really. All right, cool. I think I think we've covered most of what we wanted to cover.
Yeah. That's it.
Everybody take heart this school year. It will all come out in the wash.
We're there. We're cheering for you, mamas, whether your kids are going to school, whether you're homeschooling them, whether they're, toddlers and they're not school age yet. We're cheering for you. You've got this. It's okay. Take it one day at a time. And Corey and I are in the trenches with you.
Yeah. Honestly, though, like, I was thinking about this because I was talking to my friend who she has 4 kids, but they're like, her oldest is 5 years younger than my oldest. So she's got like really little ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been there also.
Yeah.
And like Renee said, like, it is a completely different thing. My youngest is 5 now. Like, it's entirely different trying to homeschool with 4 kids when my youngest is 5 versus when my youngest is 1 or 2 or 3 even. So we didn't talk about this at all on this episode, but like, if you are in the stage where you have an infant or you have a toddler who is just literally dumping out boxes of Legos and like coloring on the couch or something, like, just like pour grace over your entire household because you are in it. It is thick, and it is okay. And if all you do in that one day is color on paper instead of the couch, and your 7-year-old or 10-year-old even reads a picture book to your 2-year-old, that's good. Like, it is okay.
This reminds me of the episode that we did with, is her name Sarah Mackenzie?
Yes, I love her.
Oh my gosh, she was amazing. Guys, that was such a good episode. We'll put that in the show notes, but it was, Sarah Mackenzie is the Read Aloud Revival woman. She started Read Aloud Revival and she has 6 kids.
And twins.
2 of which were twins. And she talked a lot on that episode about how she homeschooled all 6 of her children when some of them were much younger and like what a few of those years looked like. So if that happens to be you and you want to, get some tips and tricks or just solidarity, go listen to that episode. We'll link it in the show notes.
Yep. Okay. I have a review that I wanted to read.
Oh my gosh. Before you read the review, I just have to say, Corey knows this because I was so excited about it, but we went up in ratings. I'm dancing right now. So, ma'am listeners, we used to be 4.6 because, there's some haters out there. I get it. The show is not for everybody. But now we're at 4.7 thanks to you guys. I want you guys to know that you did that. You did that for us. So give yourself a big hug, pat on the back. We so appreciate it. Go read the comment.
Okay. All right. So this one is titled "No Shame, Just Encouragement." I'm so glad that I found this podcast. I have tried so many different podcasts surrounding healthy living, and so many of them speak in condescending ways and expect you to do all of the things at once, which is overwhelming. I love that these ladies focus first on making better choices as you can afford and as you can handle things. I feel like I'm listening to friends instead of experts. I'm a real world mom of a picky eater who is slowly adding on new things as I am able, and these ladies are very supportive in my journey. I have learned so much. Highly recommend.
Tears. Totally crying right now. Can't. That was like the sweetest thing ever. And totally what we're going for too, guys. Like Corey and I say this all the time. We're just regular moms and we're hoping to encourage you guys. And we want you to feel like you are at our kitchen tables venting to us.
All right, let me do one more.
Okay.
The title is Love It. Thanks. Not even sure how this show came up on my feed, but I'm so glad it did. I have loved listening to the What to Eat series. So helpful as a mom who is trying to set my kid up for healthy eating habits. Thanks, ladies. Keep up the good work.
Yeah. I know. The What to Eat series, I'm so glad we did that again. I know so many people that just loved it. Super random. And then we should probably go. But my oldest was asking me the other day about pasteurization and milk. And I literally was like, just listen to this episode. And so I set him up with Mark McAfee's episode, which I think is 81. I actually know this because I, had to set him up with it. I had to look it up. And he listened to the first 15 minutes. And then he was like, is this on YouTube? I'd rather watch it on YouTube. And I'm like, actually, that was right before we made it to YouTube. So sorry.
No, wait, is that one not?
Nope, McAfee's not on YouTube, unfortunately. I know. I felt so bad.
We actually have, so this is an interesting tidbit. We started recording video episodes almost a year and a half before we started posting them.
Okay.
Because we couldn't figure out the editing process.
Yeah.
So now that we have hired an editor, we can put things on YouTube. But we have a whole archive that we could go back and edit and put on YouTube. The problem is that I was recording in my closet half the time. So it's like, do you remember this? I do. Sitting jammed up in my closet.
Totally. Yeah. Video quality is not the best. So we'll just stick with the ones that are better. Correction. It was episode 61. Sorry, not 81. But anyway. Okay. I think that's it.
We have covered back to school.
We have.
Hopefully my list of curriculum wasn't boring. Christine made me do it.
I know. No.
Alrighty, everybody. If you are starting school next week, we hope you have a wonderful, not stressful back to school. If you have already started and you are in the thick of it, congratulations, you're amazing.
Yeah.
You can find us everywhere. So Christine is at Nourish the Littles. I'm at For Nutrient's Sake. The show is at Modern Ancestral Mamas. That is all on Instagram because Christine and I are old enough to use only Instagram these days. You can also find the show audio version on Apple and Spotify. You can watch the show, like Christine's son wanted to, on YouTube. All of those are Modern Ancestral Mamas. If you would like to leave a review, you can do that on Spotify or Apple, and you can do comments on Spotify. You can do comments on YouTube. You can like things on YouTube.
And we do respond to the comments on YouTube.
Yeah, as much as we
can. And make sure you hit the little bell, the subscribe. Ding!
Yeah, and the thumbs up symbol. Good grief. And I want to say every time we do this, you can leave as many reviews as you want. It's not a one and done thing. And it is literally the best way to freely support the show because it gets the algorithm boosted. It shows it to other people who are looking for similar shows. The other thing to do would be to share it on your socials or just text it to your friend. That's it. Yeah. Cool. Oh, and definitely use whatever codes that we have listed on these shows. That is the other sort of freeway. You do have to buy whatever product you're buying, but the kickback to us is free for you.
Yeah.
And that helps our advertisers know that we sent you and helps them to continue relationships with us and working with us. So thank you guys so much for listening. We love you and goodbye.